All right, welcome out to another episode of the part of the Gridiron 64 podcast. This is episode number 58. This is part two. This is the part where we do the preview, and we'll preview week three of the GI 64 football schedule. There is 10 total teams. You pick ten games of the 47 teams that are on our list. And then we have two state games. Tony picks one, TJ picks another. TJ was unavailable today. He had to work. So he will make his picks. He will come on either tomorrow or Thursday, and he will make a short video of the on the Gridiron 64, I believe, his Sports Network Facebook page, and he will give his predictions. But T's here with me, so Tony and I will preview week three, and we will give our predictions. So T, if you're ready, man, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll.
All right, so for the first game we have, this was a really big game last year, and where we thought was going to be a blowout, ended up being a really good game. We got Edna Cowboys uh versus the Refugio Bobcats. First of all, what do you think about this game? Do you remember any highlights from last a season ago? And who do you pick?
That's the game of our week. So this is the game of the week for week three here for us on the Gridiron Six. I think it's going to be a great one. Edna's quarterback. Edna's ranked, I think, number three or four in 3A. Refugio's number one, or they actually when they lost to Hitchcock, I think they went to three. Um, so this is going to be a good matchup. Two great quarterbacks. Edna's quarterback this year, I think I can't remember his first name, Clay. He's really good. He's got some studs down there. I think it's going to be a really good game. Last year, Refugio beat Edna, but I thought Edna was still gaining and getting to know. They had athletic kids, but I don't think they were as good last year coming into the Refugio game as I think they will be this year. This is going to be really good, and I'm excited to see this game on the network because I want to see how Refugio bounces back from the loss to Hitchcock. Now, TJ was out at that game, and I picked his brain a little bit. And Refugio did a lot of great things against that Hitchcock team. They should have won, but you can see you got to play four quarters, T. And Refugio lost it, I think, in the end. Hitchcock was able to come back. They have an athletic quarterback. TJ talked a lot about that quarterback from Hitchcock prior to the game, and he talked more about him after the game and what he did. Well, Refugio's defense is facing another talented quarterback that's coming in, Del Refugio, on Friday, kind of similar to Hitchcock. So I'm interested to see if Refugio can bounce back because look, T, here's the thing. In the non-district, they're going to wipe everybody else out. They're going to go through their district and they're going to wipe everybody out 50, 60 to 0, right? Even Three Rivers, I believe, even Shiner. So I'm matching before they get into the playoffs how Refugio do against Hitchcock and Edna. So I'm eager to see how this is going to go. For Edna, like I said, I think they're going to be better this year. This is going to be a really good game. I'm telling you right now, um, Refugio Bobcats or Edna. Refugio beat them last year, and I like what they're doing offensively. But the question for me is, can Refugio's defense hold Edna? Edna's number three. I think Refugio needs to win this one. I think they're at home, T. I think both of these teams are good. They're gonna make a big deep playoff run. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna take with the Refugio Bobcats because they need to win this game, T. They lost to Hitchcock. I thought they should have won that game. That was their game to win. They lost it at the end to me. So I think they're going to look at that film. I think they're going to be playing better. And I think Refugio needs to win this game. I think if they lose to Edna, I'm concerned if they can get past Timpson. But it's still early in the season. But at home, I'm taking the Bobcats in a close one over the Cowboys of Edna.
All right, yeah. I am also going to take the Bobcats, even though Edna did have a big game last week, um, taking out the Bay City, which is a much bigger school than them. But they were victorious in that game. But even having said that, I do believe that Edna is a better team than they were a year ago. I do truly believe that. Refugio loses a few people, defensively, but I think offensively there's still going to be too much for the Cowboys to handle. So I'm also going with Refugio.
But you know what, T? I spoke to a guy that follows Refugio, and there were some things he was kind of he was a little he was critiquing the quarterback, right? He was saying, the accuracy and stuff. Um, but when you talk to a referral fan, right, they expect to win all the time. When they don't win a game that they think they should have won, I thought referral should have won that. It's going to come with criticism, right? They're not going to just take a lane down. We should have done this. We should have done that. Now, when I talked to TJ about this quarterback, TJ said no. He disagreed with the observation. He was at the game. He said, "Look, man, he played great. They were up 13-0 at the beginning. They started out strong. They just somehow, and that's Hitch. That's a credit to Hitchcock. They're that talented. They can come back and score on you on any given day, at any time. Right? The game's never over till it's over. But Edna scares me, T, because they beat a good Bay City team, a bigger school. Right? What was the score with that Bay City and Edna? I don't have it on my screen. I thought you had it on your screen.
That score was 28-21.
Whew.
So
I listen, T. I think this is going to be we picked a good game of the week. I think this is going to go down to the wire, but I think Refugio is going to learn because they should have beat Hitchcock. And I think they're going to learn from that, and they've got to beat Edna. They really do got to beat Edna. They're going to face another team down the road in Timpson. It's going to be probably as good or better than what they're facing now. With one of the quarterback with probably the best quarterback if they run into Timpson, right? That's going to be the best quarterback they'll face all year, I think, in Bussy. So again, I'm going to take Refugio, the Bobcats, but I think this is going to be a good one. And don't sleep on the Edna Cowboys because they're doing something special this year with that quarterback they got out there.
all right. So game number 2, we have another good one. We have the Yoakum Bulldogs taking on the Cuero Gobblers. What do you think about this game? Who do you think is going to win?
Yoakum, I think, is 2-0. Cuero 2-0. They started out strong. Both of these programs are good. I got to go with the Cuero Gobblers though. Um, they're playing in Cuero, which I think there's something to be said about playing at home when these two teams meet. But I think this is going to be another good close game. But Cuero's starting off really good. And I think they're going to win this game, but I think it's going to be another competitive one. But I'm taking the Cuero Gobblers in this one.
All righty. I'm also going to go with the Cuero Gobblers. I was looking at something. Yoakum.
This is a little different, T, because usually I'm used to going last, and now that I'm going first, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, I haven't heard anybody else say anything, so I'm on the other side today, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is a little different. It feels a little different because usually by the time I give my pick, I've heard everybody, and this time it's like, okay, wait, you haven't heard anybody, so you're just throwing yourself out there, so you better make sure
Yeah.
you're getting the right pick. But I'm taking the Cuero Gobblers.
Well, when I looked at this game, I looked at both teams and who they played so far, and Yoakum is 2-0. Yoakum beat Industrial
Mhm.
36-14 in week 1, and Industrial normally wins the district in their respective district. They're the ones with Aransas Pass and Palacios and all of them. They normally win district, and they normally win pretty convincingly. And they beat them week 1, 36-14. Week 2, they're at home against Cameron Yo, the Yeoman, Cameron Yo, and they beat Cameron Yo 41-20 in week 2. So now I'm thinking, man, Cuero, when I first saw this game, I was like, I got Cuero. And then I started looking at who they played, and I was like, whoa, do I want to go Cuero? I don't know. Uh, but having said that, Cuero is the bigger school. Cuero did beat the Ricebirds 41-7, and then the Panthers 35-7, only allowing 14 points in 2 games. So having said that, I'm gonna go with the Gobblers.
But I think, T, that I think Yoakum's the two teams they beat, they're impressive because Industrial is really good and Cameron Yo is pretty good in their district, right? So the two wins that they have, this is going to be a good game. Uh, it's not going to be televised. I don't think where we can see it on the network, but I think this is going to be a good one. Cuero playing at home, probably going to win. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a dogfight for Cuero because Yoakum's coming, and I would not be surprised, T, if Yoakum leaves Cuero with a victory.
Well, I'll tell you what, this game in particular is basically the same caliber of Sinton and Aransas. Now, Ingleside has been dominating that game for a few years now, but Yoakum and Cuero is the same caliber of that game that we know here in our area.
Mhm.
So it doesn't really matter what the last season was or what the records are. These two teams want to beat each other that bad. So it's gonna be a good game. Anything could happen under the Friday night lights.
And we'll see where TJ gets because he gets to sit back and watch us and laugh at us and then make his picks. He gets to look and say, "Look at those guys, man. They pick well. I know something about Yoakum they don't know, right?" But he gets the opportunity by doing this to get an extra day to
I
see
think that's
what
what
we
I
got.
think that's
Yeah,
why he's ahead. I think
yeah,
that's why he's ahead because this is the second week that he did that.
yeah. I think that coming in late and breaking down the video gives him an edge over what we have.
Yeah. All right. So game number three. This is going to be another one. This is one of those games, again, that can go either way. But one particular team has dominated this game for the past several years. You got Flower Bluff taking on traveling over to Calallen to take on the Wildcats. This is both teams are 1-1. It's really hard to gauge how Calallen has rebounded from losing 30 plus players off the roster from a season ago, but they're Calallen. We talk about Calallen and the program that they produce year after year after year. And then you got Flower Bluff, who in week one defeats Bernie. Bernie is a state contending team. They defeat him in week one, 42-35. Who do you got in this game?
Well, first of all, I know I don't know exactly, but I know Bernie lost their starting quarterback. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast that Rick, Rob Walker, and his E-Man do on the Pirates Cove earlier today, and they were talking about Rob lives in that Bernie area, and he was talking about Bernie losing their quarterback for the rest of the year after week one. They're playing a freshman quarterback who did really good and won week two for them, but they've lost their quarterback according to what I heard Rob. I haven't talked to Rob, but that's just what I heard him say on the podcast. Um, Carolina lost to GP right in week one, but it wasn't surprising because we knew how we saw GP getting better and what Coach Davis is doing out there for Gregory Portland. What was surprising to me was not that Calallen lost. It was what was surprising to me is the amount of points they were able to put up against Gregory Portland, 7, which was GP tells me GP's defense is really, really good because they held that offense to just 7 points in 4 quarters, right? So that was impressive to me. Now they played Calallen in week two, an opponent that's probably not that good, right? They wiped them out. If you flip over to Flower Bluff, they beat Bernie, right, which was an impressive win, but they lost to Laredo United. I don't know how good Laredo is, right? Because they lost that game 46-26. So I'm not sure if there was any injuries. They've got a great quarterback in Pelucio out there, the junior, but they got beat by a school that's really about their size, I think. I don't think they're 6A. They might be 6A, but I'm not
And
sure.
3-7 a season ago.
So that loss to Flower Bluff, it concerns me because I didn't think in week three we'd be talking about them at 1-1. So I didn't see the game, but it's a game I thought they should have won. Again, I don't know if there was any injuries or anything. I'm not aware that there's any injuries. Um, so this game now is in Calallen. This is always a good matchup between them. I know what they can do, Flower Bluff, in terms of the talent they have offensively. They have these new linemen that did good in week one, which was a concern to me. But I know what that quarterback can do. I know what those receivers can do. They got weapons. Um, and I'm going to take Flower Bluff. I don't know why they lost T. So that's concerning to me. But Calallen, I think, has faced one hard team in Portland. And I think Portland is going to expose them early on this season of the recipe, how you can beat them. And I think Flower Bluff's coach is really, really good. And the reason I'm taking Flower Bluff is because of that quarterback and the talent that they have on the outside with the amount of points that they can score. And I think they're going to be able to score that against that Calallen defense. And if the Flower Bluff defense can hold, if Calallen's offense struggles again, if that team, if that offense can't get going, they struggle like they did against Gregory Portland. I think Flower Bluff's offense and the talent they have around there with that quarterback are going to be able to pull out the victory. So I'm taking Flower Bluff. It is in Calallen, and it's always tough to win in Calallen, but I'm going to take Flower Bluff in this one.
In 3 years, I haven't seen you bet against Calallen. So you must know something that I don't know. But I will tell you what, I've seen enough after 2 weeks. Flower Bluff comes out of the gates firing by beating Bernie, who competed for state last season ago. And then Calallen, like we've been talking about, the biggest obstacle they have to face is losing 30 players off the roster from a season ago. So I'm also gonna go with the Flower Bluff Hornets in this game. In week number 4, this is a game that these two teams have played. I think this is probably their third meeting in the last 3 years. I think they played 2 years already previously, where Sinton was victorious. So Sinton is traveling to Calhoun to take on the Port Lavaca Sandcrabs. Sinton, we've seen them play. They lost one to Beeville in week 1, and then they really score a lot of points on Rockport in week 2. Is Port Lavaca a different team? Do you think Port Lavaca has enough to beat Sinton in week 3 this season?
They lost to Stafford 19-14. They beat West Oso 42-0. I think they got that triple option. They run the ball a lot. When I had Coach Troutman on, and I talked about this on the first part of this podcast, right? Part 1 was that he talked about this team is still learning. They're still learning a lot. This is week 3, and he said we're still learning. We're learning offensively, and we're learning defensively. But the one spot that he's got a lot of new faces is on that defense. Even though he has Rob Thomas out there, Moody, the middle linebackers back, they are hosses out there. They're very, very good. But they're going to see a buttload of that run game from Port Lavaca, I think, all night long. And I think they're going to wear down just a bit. And I think Port Lavaca is going to be able to move that ball on them. And I think Sinton's, they're still learning in week 3. And losing the Beeville, because I think Port Lavaca and Beeville are going to be a good matchup. This is going to be another team that Sinton's going to face, similar to what they faced in Beeville 2 weeks later. But I think that the run game for Port Lavaca is going to be better than what they saw against the slot T in Sosa, because I think Sosa runs the slot T. This is the triple option. So you saw what they could do. What I don't know a lot about Port Lavaca is the defense. I know the offense is there. So because I think that Troutman, and they're still learning defensively with the new guys. And I think offensively, I think that Port Lavaca is going to be able to have some success running that ball against Sinton's defense. And that triple option, it takes a lot of time off of the clock if they are successful and can control the clock and wear that defense down and move the ball and score. But doesn't give then Sinton's offense a lot of options, a lot of time. Like they may get maybe 6 possessions, 5 possessions versus 8 or 9, right? If there's no turnovers. So I like Calhoun's run game against Sinton's defense. So I'm going to take Port Lavaca, and I believe that the game is going to be played in Port Lavaca. Yeah. So I'm going Calhoun in this one over the Sinton Pirates.
All right. I think you said you hit the nail right on the head. I think um, this game a year ago was 17-10, where if you remember that game, I remember listening to that game. Uh, Port Lavaca had the lead the whole game. It was like 10-3 or something like that, and Sinton comes back and wins that game. Um, so I don't like Simpson's chances of playing from behind this season. They're gonna have to get ahead of Port Lavaca early, because Port Lavaca is gonna run the ball and they're gonna run the clock, and you're not gonna have a lot of time to try to catch up. I think that they're a better running team this year than they were last year. They got three players averaging, let's see, uh over over 10 yards a carry. They got three backs averaging over 10 yards a carry in Port Lavaca. I mean, that I think that's just too much. You like I said, if you're Simpson, you have to keep the ball in your possession. You have to score at least uh on uh every possession, at least a field goal. I think you need to take the points. So we'll see. But having said all of that, again, I think Port Lavaca is going to be too much, and I'm going to go with the Sandcrabs.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say that I didn't say first off was that they do have those weapons, but I'll go back to what Troutman said. It's still a work in progress, and this is just week three. So Hanson is still learning, the offense. But once they get going, I think Sinton into the district is going to be tough because they do have the quarterback, they do have a running back, and they have those receivers. And so once they get going, it's going to be good. But Troutman did say, Coach Troutman, that this is still a work in progress. So because Hanson was hurt last year, this offense is new to him. He's still trying to get those reps in and playing against a team like Port Lavaca that I think offensively can hold on to that ball. And I want to see if Sinton's defense is going to be able to hold that run game, a triple option that they run out there in Port Lavaca. And if they can't do that, then Port Lavaca should win the game.
Yeah. All right. So game number 5. This is a game that like I said on part one, where I think in week 3 teams are going to show their true colors, or they're going to show the face of what you can expect out of them for the rest of the season. We got Taft traveling over to Three Rivers. Um, Gabriel, this is a game where I think, like I said, JJ Acosta, his offensive line, that offense are really gonna have to start taking control of games. Like I said, I watched some of that Mathis game, and the offensively they struggled, and it wasn't necessarily Acosta himself. It was it was a total offensive effort on how broken down that Taft offense looked. JJ Acosta and the Taft Greyhounds are a better team than what we saw last week facing the Pirates, but they're going to have to show it this week against the Bulldogs of Three River. Who do you got?
Okay. The loss that Tap had last week to Mathis is concerning to me. I'm very concerned, and for the reasons that you just stated. Offensively, we broke it down the Mathis and Tap, right? Now, Tap moving forward, they're going to go play in Three Rivers. Three Rivers was good last year. I think they're going to be better this year. I think Three Rivers is better than Mathis. And we saw what Mathis did to Tap just a couple of days ago. So I'm really concerned about Tap traveling to Mathis in a week. I mean, to Three Rivers in a week to play a team who lost 48-33 to Fall City, but beat Nixon Smiley 14-8. This is a really good Three Rivers team. I love the Tap Greyhounds team, and I'm rooting for them. But when I came on the podcast, I said I wasn't going to pick with my heart. I was going to pick with what I saw, my gut, the stats. I'm really concerned, T, with what I saw from Mathis, the way I saw Tap play, and not so much that the defense had trouble with Mathis's running backs in the offense. It was more the line giving JJ Acosta the time. Three Rivers I think, is going to be better than Mathis. Has Tap fixed that enough to win to Three Rivers? I hope so, T. But playing in Three Rivers, I'm going to take Three Rivers. I think they're going to beat Taft, and Taft's going to take the second loss of the season. I hope I'm wrong because I love the Greyhounds. but I'm concerned with the way that what I saw last week, and I don't know if they fixed that enough in this week playing against a good Three Rivers team.
Yeah, Three Rivers definitely does and again another one of those teams that we don't give a whole lot of shout outs to, but they have actually had some really good seasons the past few seasons. I think they went 9-3 last season. I was looking at this game. I was looking at this game last year because these two teams faced each other a year ago, and it was a close game. But Three Rivers was victorious back then. They beat Taft 42-31 a year ago. So based off of what I've seen after the first 2 weeks from the Greyhounds, like I said, that offense is going to have to figure it out. JJ Acosta can make things happen, but he's got to have time to make those things happen. And they're gonna have to figure it out this game. They have to win this game. This is not a must-win game to get in the playoffs. I think Taft is going to the playoffs. I don't have a doubt in my mind. But to show people that losing to Mathis was a fluke, they need to win this game. But I also have Three Rivers winning this game in a close one. All right. So this is a game that I thought I had picked, and then after Friday night I changed my pick. I mean after looking at what happened Friday night, I changed my pick. I thought I had the team picked in my head, and then I started researching. I was like, oh yeah, duh. We have Odem Owls traveling over to Mathis to take on the Pirates, the hot Pirates right now. Uh, Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this game? I know in week one we talked about Odem, and you talked about Odem, possibly having some kind of spark. They were a young team the last 2 years, and I remember you and TJ agreeing that Odom was going to do something this season. Do you think in week three this is when they're going to start doing something? Do you think they have a chance to beat the Mathis Pirates?
I think they do have a chance, but here's what concerns me. They lost to Tidehaven 58-0, but Tidehaven's tough.
Tidehaven's good.
They're good. So I don't put too much stock into that loss because I think Mathis would have lost to Tidehaven as well had they played them. But they barely beat Karn City 18-7, and that's a little concerning to me. But I thought that Odom would do a little bit better than that against a Karn City team that's really I don't think that good, right? But it's week one. So now I look at Mathis 1-1, but Mathis has that one win over Taft, a really good Taft team, a good offense. Like I talk about again, the quarterback for Taft, one of the best in South Texas, and they were able to shut him down. That defense for Mathis was able to put pressure. So I'm going to go with Mathis. I think Odom is going to get better. They're playing in Mathis. I think Mathis is riding high, and I think they'll get that win over Odom when they play, I think, on Friday. So I'm going to take the Mathis Pirates. Didn't think I was going to be taking Mathis at all this year, but man, with that impressive win over Taft, and just a week later, they're going to play Odom. I'm going with Mathis, but this is going to show me a lot of how Odom plays Mathis. If Odom wins against Mathis in that Taft and Odom game, probably going to be really good, right? But if Mathis wipes out Odom like they did Taft, then I don't know who's going to win that district. I still go with Taft. Look, I still got Taft winning that district simply because of Acosta, right? That's the quarterback that you want behind there. He's gonna figure it out. He's not gonna have very many bad games. Um, but with the way that Mathis's defense was able to hold Taft's offense, and that's a good offense, if they can do that and replicate that type of effort and performance again this week, like they did against Taft, they will beat Odom. Playing in Mathis, I'm taking the Mathis Pirates.
All righty. Yeah, a year ago these two teams faced each other. Mathis did end up winning that game. Just because, like I said, I had Odom because you guys had me convinced that they were a young team. Mathis can't. I mean, Odom's not gonna have three losing seasons or 3 seasons because they won district. I don't know, maybe 7 years in a row or something like that, and then all of a sudden Taft dethrones them. It's crazy to watch happen, but we always thought that Taft was coming around, and then they finally did. So I know y'all were talking earlier in the I don't know if it was week one or the week before we started talking about week one. But y'all were talking about Odem and how good y'all thought they were gonna do. So I thought I had Odem pegged to win. And then I started looking at these games and start trying to look at my state pick and this and that. And uh I said, whoa, Mathis, Mathis got something going on, man. They really put it on Taft. It's hard for me after seeing what happened just 7 days ago or 5 days ago, um, to think that Odom's gonna come into Mathis' house and beat him. So I'm also going with Mathis to win this game. And it was close last year, but I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Cuellar's gonna have a big game offensively and defensively. No, I think number five, they're gonna remember number five uh in Odom after Friday night.
Yeah, I think they're riding off that high, a big win, and man, I hope I'm wrong because I want to see Odom be able to win because I like that Taft matchup. I like that those teams. You have 3 or 4 teams that are really good. It makes that district great. But man, with watching what Matt's defense was able to do to Taft's offense, you got to see a week later they're probably gonna be able to do the same thing to Odom if they come ready to play like they did against Taft.
All right. So the next game we have a game from up north. This one was a little bit harder for me to pick. We talked about this team already in week one. We're bringing them up again. We said we were going to start trying to talk about more teams throughout the state of Texas. We picked the defending state champs as one of the teams we were going to talk about. We got DeSoto traveling over to South Oak Cliff to take on the Bears. Who do you think's going to win this game? These are teams that we don't talk about a lot, but we have picked these teams on our state games. And then again, South Oak Cliff, defending state champs. Do you think they have what it takes to beat DeSoto?
DeSoto has played one game going into this game against South Oak Cliff. This is the third game for South Oak Cliff. This is the first game for DeSoto. DeSoto beat Allen 39-7 in the first game that they played. Very impressive. These two teams played last year. DeSoto, I believe, got the win over South Oak Cliff. I can't remember the score, but I think I'm telling you correctly. I think it's going to be the same thing again. I think DeSoto is going to get the win over South Oak Cliff. So I'm taking DeSoto to beat South Oak Cliff. Even though they're playing in South Oak Cliff, I think DeSoto is going to come back go in there and beat them again like they did last year. But TV could tell me what is the score? What was the score last year? So I believe DeSoto beat them last year.
Mm, Let me get that up for you real quick.
Remember,
All right. So last year it was DeSoto 42-23 over South Oak Cliff.
yeah, I'm taking DeSoto again. I know it was last year, but South Oak Cliffs already gone 1-1, so they've already beaten one team in their first 3 games that they lost to last year. This South Oak Cliff team is part of our 47 team, and they're really good. But I think DeSoto is going to beat them, so I'm taking DeSoto.
All right, just 1 second. All right. Oh man. Uh I have a team circled here and I don't know what to do. Like I said, this was hard for me to pick. Um, last week I picked China Spring because they were defending state champs. Um, my gut tells me to pick South Oak Cliff because they're defending state champs. But I mean, DeSoto beat Allen. Allen is probably one of the biggest schools in the state of Texas, if not the biggest school in the state of Texas. Meaning they got the biggest pool of players to pull from, and they almost blanked them 39-7. So, but it is only their second game. Um, hmm. I wish TJ told me who he picked. That would help me decide.
But look at this. But look at South Oak Cliff, though. They lost to Duncanville 34-13, but they beat Lancaster 42-21, a team they lost to last year. But I think DeSoto and Duncanville, they're at a different level, right? And South Oak Cliff went 0-3 against these three teams last year. I just think DeSoto is still going to be able to bring that talent back and be able to beat South Oak Cliff this year. That's why I picked them. But I think it's going to. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if South Oak Cliff. These are two great programs that you can't really put a lot of uh, thought into what they do last year because it's a new year. Every year, these two teams are good. They come with talented players every year. So whatever happened last year, you almost got to think about it and then kind of let it go because it really doesn't have a lot of implications into what could happen this year because they return talent every year, right? I just think DeSoto is going to be able to get another win. I don't know if it'll be like it was last year. I just think they're going to be able to get the win over South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking at this, and actually, DeSoto was also state champs a year ago. So this is the battle of the state champions. And uh, man, I'm gonna go DeSoto. I'm gonna go DeSoto. I had South Oak Cliff circled, but I'm going DeSoto. I just think that the teams that they played throughout the whole season are a little bit tougher. I mean, they beat Denton Geyer in the state semis last year to go to state, and they end up winning state the week after that. So I'm gonna go with DeSoto. Um, the next game that we have, it's the battle for Katy. It's the battle for the town of Katy. We got Katy Tompkins traveling over to play the Tigers, the Katy Tigers. We talked about Katy Tigers a week ago. Uh,
Oh,
this is a rivalry. I know Katy Tigers was their first. Tompkins comes in sometime later on down the road, but Katie's the original Katy school. Who do you got winning this game?
I'm original, right? Like I'm an original guy, right? I like the original. I like the team that was there from the beginning, right? Like look, like I don't like vanilla Dr. Pepper. I like Dr. Pepper, right? I like original stuff. The stuff that came out. They put all these other things that come out. No, look, I like what came out in the 80s. That's the way I am. Katie was there first, T. The Tigers. They were the original Katie. These other teams that came into these other schools, they're great. Both of these teams are 1-1, right? But I'm gonna go original like I do with drinks and with food and with snacks and stuff. I'm going to take the Katy Tigers, the original Katy Tigers that were the first school there at Katy.
All right. You already looked at stats and everything. You sure you want to go there?
I do. I do. I'm original. Look, they're 1-1. Katy lost to a really good team in week two. I don't know much about the other team, but Katie's Katy, man. They're. I don't know. They're probably gonna have a down year, but I'm gonna stick with them. I like I think this team. I don't know much about the Katy school districts, right? But it is a rival, and I think they're both going to play their best game. I think Katie's going to come out and win that game. The Tigers, that is.
Oh, so you think Katie's gonna win?
Yeah, Katie's going to win, but I
So,
just think the Tiger. I'm picking the Tigers, but Katie is going to win. Yes.
so this could go either way. But these two teams played last year. Did you look at the score was what the score was last year?
No.
It was 14-13.
Mm,
Katy Tigers wins the game by
mm,
1 point.
mm, mm. It's gonna be another.
So this is one of those rivalries,
Mm,
like we just talked about, with Yoakum and Cuero, that could go either way.
mm.
Doesn't matter how their season goes. This can go either way. Um,
And you know what, T? It's like this. Katie's saying we're the original dogs. This is our ground. And Tompkins is saying, you know what? We're the new dogs. We're the new kid. We're trying to get our respect. We want our respect. So this is going to be a good game in that Katy district. So that's what I said. Now 14-13. It's going to be another tough one. It's going to go down to the wire again, probably this year.
yeah, both of these teams play in a very, very tough district. Actually, Katy lost in the state semis to the team that DeSoto beat in state, Vandergrift. Vandergrift.
Mhm.
Um, so that tells me that uh, Katy Tigers might have a little bit more. I mean, they did in that 1 point win over Tompkins a year ago. Man, but I do like uh Tompkins early on competition. They play Cypress Ranch and they play Cypress Bridgeland and they won. Not convincingly, but they won. Um, I think I'm gonna give this one to Tompkins. I'm going Katy Tompkins.
Okay.
All right. So in number 9 we have Corpus Christi Ray Texans traveling over to Kingsville to take on the Brahmas. You know, we talked about Kingsville. You talked about the new coaching staff they have over there. We talked about their loss over who was it? San Diego last week. Um, do you think Kingsville has what it takes uh to bounce back from a loss last week against San Diego and take on and beat the bigger school, the Corpus Christi Ray Texans? What are your thoughts on this game? Who you got?
I do. I think Kingsville, this is going to be a real competitive game. Kingsville's got one win. Ray's got one win. Both big schools. Ray from the Corpus Christi area, Kingsville. They've got some kids out there. So this is going to be a really good one. Um, I'm going to take Kingsville because I think this is almost like Ray is an up and coming team. They're trying to get things. They're trying to ride the ship the right way, right, so to speak. Right, they're trying to get things going. They had a bad season last year. They've had quite a few, so they're trying to get back. They're just like Kingsville, um, but Kingsville had that impressive win over Robstown. And I know, Robstown. They've got great coaching over there now, and so I think Kingsville, with the talent they have, I think they're gonna be able to get their second win of the season over the Ray Texans. This is going to be another good game. We're going to be talking about a good game. I think you're going to see them go back and forth. I think Kingsville is going to have more than Ray, and they should get this win for their second win of the season, taking the Kingsville.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you on that. I don't think that even though Kingsville loses to San Diego, I think San Diego is a much tougher team than Ray. So we can't even compare those two teams. Tuloso Midway a week ago almost blanked Ray. I don't think that Ray has enough to beat Kingsville. I'm interested and anxious to see what the new coaching system does to the program over there in Kingsville and watch them turn that organization around. I'm gonna have to take the Brahmas in this game as well.
Yeah, good for Kingsville. Good for Kingsville.
All right, in our 10th game, before we get into our state games, we had the GP Wildcats traveling over to Victoria to play the East Titans. Tell me who you think is going to win this game.
I'm going GP. Plain and simple. The win over Calallen is dominating for me. I don't know what Victoria East has going on over there, but they're going to have a tough time with GP. And this GP just didn't come to play. But already holding Calallen in week one, uh, the win against Carroll kind of was expected. Carroll is an up and coming program, but I didn't think they were going to be able to beat Gregory Portland. But the way that they handled Calallen in week one, and that's week one, tells me how prepared this GP team is. If they stay healthy, they're going to be really, really tough to beat this year. So I'm taking the Wildcats GP, no doubt, over Victoria East.
I bet TJ's gonna pick Victoria East on this one.
He'd be crazy.
So
He'd be crazy to do that, but he's been known to make some picks way out there. So who knows, right?
well, I'll tell you what. I've been on the GP bandwagon for about 2 seasons already. I thought GP was gonna beat Calallen last year, and they didn't. Um, so I picked GP this year. I picked them last year and I lost that game, and I picked them this year and I won that game. I don't think there's a way in hell that Victoria East is gonna beat GP. I don't think they have a chance. GP has shown me enough
Mhm.
to say that Victoria East is not gonna be able to stay on the same field with the Wildcats. I think GP is gonna win this, and it's gonna be a big win. It's gonna be a convincing win. They're gonna make a statement, uh, and get the big win against Victoria East. All
Yeah,
right.
GB's gonna have a good season. As long as they stay healthy, they're gonna be tough to beat this year.
All right. So now we're going on to our state games. We got Prosper traveling over to Prosper traveling over Rockwall traveling over no, Rockport is at home. Prosper is traveling over to Rockwall. Got 2-0 Prosper traveling to play Rockwall, the 1-1 Rockwall. Who do you got in this game? These are two teams that we don't talk about a lot. Uh Rockwall's a little bit up north. Prosper's somewhere in that general area. Uh, uh, what do you know about these schools? Do you know about these schools? Are you going based off of state ranking? How you picking this game, and who do you got?
No, I don't know much about them. I'm going Rockwall. I know they're 1-1. I know Prosper's 2-0, but Rockwall, in the two losses in the one win against Cedar Hill, scored 56. Um, but against Dallas, DeSoto, I believe is what you say. They scored 59. So they scored 56 and 59. They lost by a point, 60-59, but they have scored 50 plus in both weeks. I think that offense is legit. So I'm taking Rockwall to win.
All righty. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Prosper on this game. I'm going based off of state ranking. Uh, I think Rockwall is a little bit further down on the totem pole. I'm gonna go with Prosper on this one.
Got it.
All right. So on the last game, we got, let's see. I just want to make sure I say this right real quick. Okay, so we have 2-0 Jim Ned uh hosting the 2-0 wall. Um so let's see. The Hawks are traveling to come play the Indians. Both teams are 2-0. While I haven't heard about a whole lot, Jim Ned, I know. Jim Ned, I've seen contend for state a few times, and in making runs for it previous times. What do you think about this game? Have you heard about either of these teams? Who do you got to win? Who do you got?
Jim Ned beat Holly 34-12. Holly was the one that won the 2A state title over Refugio last year, right? So they already got
Mm-hmm.
a win over those guys 34-12. I don't think Holly's quite as good as they were last year, but still an impressive win over Holly. Then they beat Holiday 40-22. And they play Wall. Okay, so Wall now is 2-0 also, and they've got wins over Eastland. I don't know who they are, 35-10, and Cisco 27-10. So I don't know those teams quite that well as I do and have seen some of what um, Rockwall, Jim Ned. So I'm going to take Jim Ned in this state game to win. Hopefully, I'm right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I am going to go Jim Ned. Let's see. I know I was looking at something earlier. Let's see. Uh, yeah, no. Jim Ned is a young team. It's a smaller school, but like I said, I've seen them compete for state. If I'm not mistaken, Jim Ned and Hallettsville had a really good game a year or two ago in the state game. Where Gymnet had to come back and beat Hallettsville or the other way around. Anyways, either way, I remember watching that game, uh, and it was a good game. Gymnet is a team that I know a little bit more than I do Wall, so I'm gonna have to go with Gymnet in this game.
Yeah.
So, so that completes the 12 games. With our two state games, we got again Prosper taking on Rockwall and Gymnet taking on Wall. I think we got some really good games slotted for this week. I think the game of the week is going to be a big game that could go either way. Like I said, Edna has already started off hot. I think hotter there even than they were last year. I think they have confidence playing Refugio. I think that's how Refugio is able to beat a lot of schools. Is they don't have teams don't have confidence playing a team of the caliber of the Bobcats. But I think Edna has that confidence, and I think that they're going to come into Refugio and really put on a really good slugfest. It's not going to be easy. I think Refugio is going to have to pull out all their stops to win that game. Definitely a game to watch. And then you got Yoakum again. Just recapping real quick. Yoakum taking on Cuero. Again, this is one of those rivalry teams where it could go either way. It does not matter what their seasons looked like a year ago, how they ended, and it doesn't matter what their record is going into these games. Yoakum wants to be Cuero just as bad as Cuero wants to be Yoakum. This could go either way. Flower Bluff and Calallen. This is one of our local gladiator matches here in the Coastal Bend. Uh, and surprisingly, Gabriel and myself picked against Calallen, which hasn't happened in several years. I think we've been doing this 3 or 4 years now, and haven't picked Calallen, picked against Calallen in the Coastal Bend game. So interesting to see what happens there. Sinton and Calhoun again. Sinton is one of those teams that the past 3 years been kind of dominant. Last year they end up beating Calhoun, but even having said that, we both picked Calhoun to win that game over Sinton. And then another one we talked about Taft and having what we call one of the best one of the best quarterbacks in South Texas in JJ Acosta, and they're taking on traveling down to Three Rivers to take on the Bulldogs. And again, we picked against Taft, which is kind of surprising. So, I think, like I said, Taft really has to uh, show their true colors, show their face, prove to themselves that they could get a big win. This is a team that they should have beat last year, but they didn't. Uh, Mathis is a team they should have beat a week ago, but they didn't. I think they need to win this game. It's not for a matter of going to the playoffs because I think they'll win. I think they'll go to the playoffs and they'll win district, but they need to win this game just so they can gain their confidence back, so that they can walk through the rest of the games in district play. We got Odom taking on the Mathis Pirates. We talked about Mathis Pirates, really surprising us, and stunning Taft. Not just beating them. I think Taft was stunned by the Pirates last week by how many points they scored. I think I'm going to say it again. I might say his name a few more times. Number 5, Cuellar from Mathis really put on a show offensively and defensively. He's going to be definitely a player to watch in South Texas in the smaller schools. Just remember that number 5, Cuellar. I think his name is Eric Cuellar. I believe that's what I heard them saying. Definitely a player to watch. And then we got one of our schools that we wanted to follow. They made our top 47. South Oak Cliff taking on DeSoto. These are both defending state champs from different classifications, taking on each other. DeSoto did come out victorious in this game a year ago. Um, but you never know. South Oak Cliff, you know. they might want it bad this year, and we'll see what happens. But in this game, we both pick DeSoto to win that one. You got Katy Tompkins traveling over to play the Katy Tigers. Katy Tigers is the original Katy school in Katy. Um, in this game, it's split. Gabriel has the Katy Tigers, and I have Katy Tompkins. We'll see. This is one of those rivalries that could go either way as well. This game was decided by 1 point last year, so we'll see what happens this year. And then we have Corpus Christi Ray Texans traveling over to Kingsville. We talked about Kingsville, the new coaching staff that they have. We think that there's still potential for Kingsville. We don't think that they have to win this game, but we think they're going to win this game. We both decided that Kingsville is going to win this game pretty significantly. We talked about how tough we thought Kingsville could play, and they had some spurts and sparks against that Robstown team. So we'll see what they do. I think the coach week after week is going to start implementing more and more of his program. Um, and Kingsville's going to get better throughout the season. GP traveling over to Victoria to play the East Titans. We both agreed that the Wildcats are going to be too much for the Titans to handle, and mutually we picked the Wildcats to be victorious in that game. We got Prosper traveling over to Rockwall. This was another split game. I picked Prosper. This is our first state game, and Gabriel picked Rockwall. Still waiting to see what TJ has to say. And then our last state game, we got Jim Ned traveling over to Wall. I mean, hosting Wall. In this one, we both agreed Jim Ned's going to win that game. Gabriel, got anything to add?
Oh, thank you for the recap. And all I gotta say and add, T, is that go by, check out our GT's, I'm sorry, our Gridiron 64 Sports Network Facebook, Twitter page. We got the polls out there. I'll be putting up more posts tonight, tomorrow. Try to get everything up by tomorrow, so you'll have Thursday and Friday to vote. But definitely, there are some teams up there already, so I'll be putting up some more later tonight and tomorrow. By tomorrow, I should have all of them up there. So definitely take a look. If your team's up there, definitely support your team. Vote for them. If you have any knowledge, if you want to state anything, go into the comment section down below. Let us know what you're thinking. And if not, if you just want to play along, just stay in touch and kind of what team do you think is going to win? We've got some good ones. All of the 12 teams, the 10 teams on the list, and the two state teams will be on there, plus more. We usually have about 22 to 25. So other teams that we didn't talk about to here that are part of the 47 on the list also go up on the post. And then we have some that we don't talk about, but we still put up there anyway that we follow. So just check it out every day. New teams. We'll probably have, like I said, between 22 and 25 teams up there. So check that out. Tony and TJ will be back next Monday. I shouldn't be on unless one of the guys can't make it. I'll step in. But outside of that, if Tony and TJ are scheduled and can be here, they're scheduled. But if they can both be here on Monday, you'll catch those two guys. I will not be here if both of them are there. You'll only see me from time to time. So T is going to take over here a little bit. They'll be able to debate with Tony and TJ. We're trying to do some different things here on the gridiron. We're making some changes, and I think it's better suited. At least I want the podcast to be suited more for two. And if we get another third person, we'll try to bring somebody else in. It'll grow, but for right now, I think two is good enough. Kind of shorten it up a little bit. We don't want to keep it for 3 hours or 2 hours. Tony and I talked. Kind of going to see a little difference today, where you're going to see two parts. Today, you're going to see the part one was the preview, and then we jump back on a few minutes later. Kind of take a little break, and then we come back, and then we do the preview segment, part two. So part one is the preview. I'm sorry, part one is the recap. Part two is the preview, and that's how we're going to try to do it on Monday. So you'll see TJ and Tony on Mondays. And if one of them can't make it, then of course I'll be in there to step in. But you'll catch me on Wednesdays. The reason I want them to do that is because I'm going to be focused on the Gridiron 64 on Wednesday, which has more with interviews with coaches and players and stats. for our players around the area or of our 47 team. So that's what I'm going to try to be focused on Wednesday. So you'll catch Tony and TJ on Monday, and only me when I have to step in. So T, thank you very much, man. Now you know what you're going to be doing. So you got all week to prepare yourself. And I'll be catching you guys on Monday. But for some reason you can't make it, something comes up for TJ, I'll step in for you guys. But if not, it'll be you and TJ on Mondays. Everything all
Yes,
right?
sir. Everything's good.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. I'll get with you during the week to make sure we have everything that you need for you to be able on your side to go ahead and record and upload. Or maybe you'll even go live. I don't know. We'll talk here in a couple of days and see how you want to do that. It's up to you. If you want to go live, I'm good with that. If you want to record it the way I do it, it's up to you. We'll talk here over the weekend and or here in a couple of days. I'll text you, give you some time to think about it, see how you want to do it. But definitely some changes I think are going to be good here for the Gridiron. So tune into that. Tony and TJ on Monday, myself on Wednesday. So TV, you got nothing else, man?
Oh, nope.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. TJ will be on either tomorrow or Thursday. I think tomorrow he'll do a little video with his picks and then I'll put them all up there. You do not have right what the total record is for 2 weeks for the three of us. I can work on that
Well,
tonight if I need to.
let's add it up. Let's add it up. So you were 7-5 in week 1
Yes, and 7 and
and
5
7-5 in week 2. So that's 14-10.
Okay.
I was 7-5 in week 1 and 6-6 in week 2. So that's 13-11, right? Yep,
Yes.
13-11. TJ was 9-3 and then 6-6. So that's 15-9.
So he's
So
still winning.
he still got the lead uh by 1. He's got the
Yeah.
1 point lead over you.
Okay. And the games these are going to be hard games, that we picked this week. I mean, they could go either way. I mean, there's just a lot of teams. We had some really good games, and you recap them all, and they're going to be really good, man. So thank you very much for tuning in, man. I'll catch you guys. Well, you guys get on Monday, but if you guys can't do it, let me know so I can make arrangements to step in. If not, you guys take over on Monday. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
your time, brother, and I'll see you.
Sir, take it easy, man.